He's not your husband. Legally, he never was. Those words hit harder than a punch. The woman at the registrar's office wasn't trying to be cruel. She was just reading the facts off a computer screen. But to me, it sounded like the entire foundation of my life had just been erased. Let me backtrack a little. My name is Horace. I'm not a man who believes in fairy tales, but I fell for one anyway. 3 years ago, I met Ariba. She was sharp, ambitious, and had a smile that could stop traffic. I was drawn in fast. She made me feel seen in a way no one ever had. Everything about her felt like it was made for me. We dated for 6 months. Then one night, out of nowhere, she told me, "Let's get married. Just us. No families, no noise. I want you, not a circus." Looking back, I should have known something was off. But in that moment, I was just a man in love. And when you love someone, you don't think with logic, you think with hope. So we did it. We got married in a simple ceremony at a private hall. A friend of hers and a guy she said was a cousin acted as witnesses. No one from my side attended. My parents didn't even know. She gave me a marriage certificate a week later. It looked official. Had seals, stamps, everything. I framed it, proud of what we had done. That paper made everything feel real. For the first year, everything was beautiful. We lived in a cozy apartment. She played the role of a devoted wife perfectly. She'd kiss me goodbye every morning, send me good luck texts before meetings, and stay up waiting for me when I worked late. But slowly, things changed. She started taking frequent family trips. Always short notice. Always emotional. My sister's sick. My cousin's wedding. Emergency back home. She never let me come with her. I asked questions. She gave rehearsed answers. I trusted her. I had no reason not to. Until one evening, a letter arrived. It was addressed to her, from a government office. It looked important. I wasn't the kind of man to open her mail, but this time, curiosity got the better of me. Inside was a copy of a legal marriage registration. Not mine. It listed her as the bride. And a man named Zion as the groom. The date on it? 2 weeks before the day she married me. I blinked. Reread it. My heart pounded as my brain tried to make sense of it. There had to be a mistake. Had to. When she got home that night, I didn't confront her right away. I just asked her casually, "Do you know anyone named Zion?" She froze. Just for a second. Then she smiled. "Why are you asking?" "Just came across the name." She changed the subject. That night, when she fell asleep, I couldn't. I stayed up Googling names, checking social media, looking for clues. I found them. Photos. A wedding. A proper one. Big stage, flowers, families, 100 guests. Ariba was in full bridal makeup, sitting beside Zion, who was kissing her forehead. My stomach turned. I thought I was going to be sick. The next morning, I went to the registrar's office. I showed them the certificate she had given me. The lady behind the desk frowned. She scanned it, typed something into her system, then looked at me with confusion. "This is not in our records," she said. "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means this certificate was never filed. It's fake." I stood there. Silent. Numb. "Are you sure?" She showed me the database. Nothing. My name wasn't listed anywhere as married. But Ariba's was. To Zion, the woman confirmed. In that moment, something inside me broke. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I checked into a hotel. I needed time to think. To breathe. To figure out what the hell had just happened. Over the next 2 days, I traced everything back. The fake ceremony. Her reluctance to involve my family. The sudden proposal. Her friend acting as a witness. It all made sense now. It was never real. She was never mine. She used me for something. Maybe money. Maybe convenience. I don't even know. And honestly, I didn't care anymore. She lied. To my face. For 3 years. I didn't confront her. Didn't wait to hear excuses. I simply vanished. I blocked her number. Deleted our photos. Left the apartment and never looked back. I walked away. No messages. No notes. No closure. I let her deal with the silence. Because that silence, it was louder than any screaming could ever be. Disappearing isn't as easy as it sounds. You don't just walk away from a life you built, especially when you loved it, even if it was all a lie. But I did it anyway. I withdrew all my money, closed my bank accounts, changed my number, deleted social media, and resigned from my job. Quietly. Cleanly. No noise. I imagined her face when she realized what happened, the silence, the confusion, the slow, crawling dread. She deserved it. I left the apartment keys at the front desk of the building. No note. No call. No warning. Took up a remote contract job, just enough to pay rent and eat. I didn't need much anymore. I wasn't trying to live. I was trying to recover. Ariba would return to find me gone and no way to reach me. I went to a smaller city. Rented a flat under a different name. But no matter how far I ran, the questions followed me. Why did she marry me when she was already legally married to someone else? What did she gain from faking a second marriage? Did Zion know about me? I couldn't stop the thoughts. Couldn't silence the noise in my head. Then one night, about a week after disappearing, I got a message. Not a call. Not a text. An email. It was from an unknown address. No name. No subject. Just one sentence: "You made a mistake by leaving." My heart dropped. I stared at the screen. There were no threats, no explanations. Just that one line. It had to be her. I didn't reply. But the next day, another email came. This time, it had an attachment. A video. I hesitated. Pressed play. It was a CCTV recording, grainy footage of me withdrawing money from an ATM. The timestamp was from 2 days ago. My new city. She had found me. How? I didn't know. But she was watching. And she wanted me to know. I should have felt scared. But I didn't. I felt angry. After all she'd done, she still thought she had power over me. Not for closure. Not for peace. Just to understand the depth of the betrayal. She didn't. The next day, I bought a new SIM, created a fake email, and sent one message to her original address. Gave him everything I knew, her real name, her photos, her family details, Zion's name. It said, "You fooled me once. Don't try again." She never replied. But I wasn't done yet. She was stuck in a legal marriage with a man she no longer loved. I needed answers. So I started digging. I hired a freelance investigator online. Paid him well. Within a week, he came back with a full report. Turns out, Ariba had married Zion 4 years ago. Arranged. Traditional. Her family was heavily invested in his business empire. But shortly after, she found out he was cheating. Repeatedly. Publicly. They separated, but never divorced. Ariba wanted out. But her family refused. They said divorce would bring shame. That's when she created a second life. Me. I was her escape. Her emotional investment. A fake marriage to feel like she still had a life of her own, without actually leaving the old one. She crafted it perfectly. Kept everything undocumented. Staged everything to look real. Even paid someone to forge the certificate. To her, I wasn't a husband. I was a role. And when I left, I ruined her game. She lost her fake comfort, her control. The emails weren't about love or guilt. They were about power. She thought I'd be weak enough to crawl back, ask questions, beg for clarity. She was wrong. I didn't contact her again. Didn't seek revenge. Didn't tell Zion. Didn't post it online. I didn't need to. Because her life was built on lies. And lies eventually collapse. I just made sure I wasn't underneath when it crumbled. I kept reading the investigator's report long after I memorized every word. Each line felt like a stab. But it also gave me clarity. Ariba hadn't just lied to me. She had rehearsed that lie. Perfected it. Played it like a part in a film. Every smile, every kiss, every soft "I love you" whispered before sleep, none of it had meaning. It was just her performing. I wondered how many other men were part of her game. But I stopped myself. That wasn't my business anymore. Still, the part that stayed with me was this: she never wanted to choose. She didn't want to give up her emotional needs either. So she built a backup life. She didn't want to leave Zion and risk family shame. A hidden marriage. Me. And when I vanished, I think something snapped in her. She wasn't used to losing control. I thought that'd be the end. But a month later, the game changed again. I was walking home from the store one evening. Grocery bag in hand, hoodie up, head down. A car pulled up beside me. Slow. Quiet. I didn't look. Not right away. Then the window rolled down. It was her. Ariba. In person. She looked exactly the same. Like nothing had happened. Hair done. Just stared. She said. Let's talk. Red lipstick. Gold earrings. Not a single sign of guilt on her face. She smiled like we were old friends meeting by chance. I froze. I said. She leaned out the window and said, "You really thought you could just disappear? After everything, she thought I'd just get in and have a chat like it was normal. And you need to leave before I make this public." I didn't say a word. She opened the car door. "Get in," I almost laughed. "Try me." I stepped back. "No, just in case." Every message. Every address she visited. Every time she tried to find me. I couldn't sleep. I kept wondering how she found me again. Her smile faded. "I just want to explain, I don't need explanations," I cut in. "I need distance." Her eyes narrowed. "You wouldn't." I shrugged. She stared at me for a long second, then slammed the door shut and drove off. That night, I thought I'd been careful. But when someone is that obsessed with control, they will always find a way. I tightened my walls after that. Moved again. New city. New job. New alias. I started writing everything down. Documenting it. Because people like her don't stop. Not unless they're made to. And I was done playing polite. A few weeks later, I heard from the investigator again. This time, he had something new. Ariba's legal marriage to Zion was falling apart, publicly. There were court documents now. She was trying to get alimony. But Zion was fighting back, claiming infidelity. Guess how he found out? Someone had sent him an anonymous envelope. Inside? A photo of her and me together from our wedding day. A copy of the fake marriage certificate. And a handwritten note that said, "Your wife had another husband." I didn't send it. But someone did. Maybe her past caught up. Maybe Zion had hired someone too. Either way, her perfect web was unraveling. And for the first time, I didn't feel angry. I felt nothing. Not revenge. Not pity. Just nothing. That's when I knew I had finally moved on. Not just from her. But from who I used to be. The man who trusted blindly. Who believed love couldn't lie. That man was gone. And I wasn't mourning him anymore. When I disappeared from her life, I expected silence. I expected her to move on, to fall back into the role she played best, pretending. Pretending I never existed, just like she pretended our marriage was real. But I underestimated her hunger for control. I took it as a sign that maybe, just maybe, she had finally let go. I hadn't just walked away. I had dismantled the lies she built around me. And people like Ariba don't like losing the narrative. 3 months passed with nothing, no emails, no sudden visits, no ghostly surveillance. Then came the call. It was a number I didn't recognize. I hesitated but answered anyway. "Is this Horace?" Then, calmly, he said, "My name is Nabil. I think we were both involved with the same woman." The voice was low, male, and unfamiliar. "Depends on who's asking." That's how she justified the photos. There was a pause on the other end. I didn't respond. I was with her for a year. Thought we were building something. Then she disappeared on me, same week your name showed up online. I froze. "My name? Online?" He continued, "She told me you were her distant cousin, sick, emotionally unstable, needed shelter. She said she was just helping. I'm done with her." I nearly laughed. I'd heard a lot of lies from her mouth. But that one, about me being mentally unstable, was new. And bold. "I don't know what she told you," I finally said, "but none of it matters anymore." "I get that," he replied. "I just thought, if we're both part of her story, we should at least know the truth." "Her story's over, at least for me," I said, and hung up. But something about the conversation unsettled me. I opened my old email, the one I hadn't used since I vanished. There were 46 unread messages. Most were junk. But 3 were from Ariba. I hadn't posted online. I hadn't contacted Zion. I hadn't gone public. And it didn't take long to find out what she meant. Ariba and Zion, standing outside a family court, yelling at each other in public. She was accusing him of abuse. He was accusing her of adultery. Reporters swarmed them. Cameras captured every moment. Each one was just a sentence long. "Are you watching what they're saying about me? Zion's team is threatening to sue me. I need you. You were supposed to stay quiet." That last one made me pause. I hadn't said a word to anyone about what she did. But someone had. I googled her name. A video had surfaced 2 weeks ago. One clip went viral. Ariba shouting, "I was never yours. I loved someone else while married to you." That line alone fueled a media firestorm. Suddenly, everyone was talking. Gossip pages, marriage blogs, local news. And deep in the comments section of one YouTube video, someone had uploaded a set of images, low-res but unmistakable. Me and Ariba. At our fake wedding. Smiling like idiots. Holding hands. Her in a soft cream dress. Me in a charcoal gray suit. Someone captioned it, "Meet the man she married while already married." I felt my stomach turn. It didn't matter that the marriage was fake. The damage was real. And worse, my name was now out there. I'd changed identities for a reason. I buried the past so I could rebuild. But now, I was being dragged back into her storm. I called my investigator. "I didn't leak anything," he said quickly. "But, when people dig hard enough, they find things. She's made a lot of enemies." "Anyone dangerous?" "Not yet. But she's losing control." That's when I realized, this wasn't about love. It never had been. It was about the story. Ariba was addicted to appearances. To the image of power. The idea that she was untouchable. And now that image was crumbling. She wasn't reaching out because she missed me. She was reaching out because I was the only one who knew the truth and hadn't used it, yet. That night, I got another email. This time, longer. A second life. "I didn't mean for it to hurt you. But you knew, didn't you? Deep down, you had to know something wasn't right. I know you think I used you. But I didn't. Not entirely. I was lost. I was suffocating in that marriage. You gave me peace. No apology. Just justification. No remorse. Just revision. Every photo. I uploaded them into a locked folder online with a single purpose, evidence. If I ever needed to clear my name, I'd be ready." I didn't reply. But I did something I'd been avoiding. I backed up everything. Every message. Every fake document. Because silence had been my strength. But silence could also be misinterpreted. I wasn't a victim. I wasn't some sad ex. I was the only one who walked away with his dignity intact. She ruined her own name. I just didn't stick around to save it. Some people apologize because they feel guilt. Ariba apologized because she feared consequences. After that last email, I expected silence. But instead, I received more messages. One every few days. Some were short, pleading. Others were paragraphs filled with twisted memories, as if she was trying to rewrite our story. "I was never trying to hurt you. They never understood me the way you did. You were the only thing that felt real." The more I read, the more I realized, she was spiraling. Her reputation had taken a hit. Zion had filed for a formal divorce. His legal team made it public. Asking questions. Some subtle. Some direct. Court documents were shared online. One section even included a claim that she'd been living a double life. And while the media didn't name me directly, they mentioned a second man, unregistered but emotionally involved. That was enough. Friends I hadn't spoken to in years began reaching out. No phone call. "Didn't you used to date someone named Ariba? Hey, is that you? Is that your picture floating around Twitter? I saw something crazy on YouTube." I ignored them all. Read this. Because I knew the moment I said anything, it would pull me back into her orbit. And I had no intention of returning. Then came the letter. And now that she did, I felt nothing. A real one. No email. A handwritten letter. Sent to a co-working space I had used briefly. Plain. No name. Just one sentence on the outside. She must have tracked the address through some forgotten breadcrumb I left behind. How our fake marriage gave her the illusion of choice, of rebellion, of control. But if you want your side told, now's the time. The envelope was thin. Slowly. If you read anything, I opened it. About growing up in a home where appearances meant everything. About the pressure to marry into a wealthy family. The way Zion's money sealed the deal. I wasn't trying to be free of Zion. I was trying to be someone else entirely, despite her protests. Inside was a letter spanning 3 pages. She wrote about her childhood. She wrote about feeling like a prisoner. Then came the sentence that made me pause. "With you, it could have been powerful. Could have stirred sympathy. But I had lived through her actions. And no amount of poetic words could erase what she'd done. The letter ended with a question. Do I deserve a second chance, not with you, but with the truth? She didn't ask me to come back. She asked me to stay silent. To protect what was left of her image. To not speak. To let the story die quietly. It was strange. For so long, I wanted answers. I wanted her to acknowledge the lie. No satisfaction. No rage. Just an odd sense of detachment, like reading the final chapter of a book you stopped caring about halfway through. I put the letter back in the envelope and burned it that night. Not out of hate. But to make peace with it. Because closure isn't always a conversation. Sometimes it's a decision. And I decided to be done. A few weeks later, I got a call from the journalist who had covered her public fallout. She'd gotten my name through quiet sources. I'm not here to exploit you, she said. I thought about it. Long and hard. And then I said, no. Let the silence speak for me. Because I didn't need revenge. I didn't need the world to know I was the man she lied to. She knew it. I knew it. That was enough. When you walk away from someone who lied to you, you expect them to chase you, at least once. Out of guilt, fear, or the loss of control. Ariba did all of that. But eventually, even she gave up. Months passed. The blog posts about her double marriage scandal became old content. Zion finalized the divorce and publicly washed his hands of her. The news cycle moved on. The videos faded. Not fancy, not central, just enough. I started working remotely again, design projects, freelance coding. Simple stuff. No drama, no meetings, no one asking personal questions. And me? Her face tired, drawn. Sunglasses covered her eyes, but I'd have known her anywhere. Everything from the past slammed into me all at once, our fake wedding day, her disappearing for weeks, the fake certificate, the email where she begged for silence. I stopped looking over my shoulder. I rented a small apartment in a quiet town near the coast. Peace wasn't something I had to fight for anymore. It was finally mine. Until one morning, while walking to a local cafe, I saw her again. She was sitting outside. Alone. Coffee in hand. No makeup. No earrings. Just her. She was thinner. For a moment, I stood frozen. And now she was just there. Alone, ordinary, forgettable. She didn't see me. Or maybe she did and chose not to react. Either way, I kept walking. No words. No acknowledgement. No closure scene. Would have wanted answers. Would have fallen for her sadness. Just silence. And that silence felt powerful. Because the man she married, the man she manipulated and lied to, would have stopped. But I wasn't him anymore. He died the day I held that fake certificate in my hands. I didn't hate her. I didn't love her. I just didn't care. And that kind of peace? That kind of numbness? That was something she'd never understand. Later that night, I opened my old backup drive. All the evidence, photos, emails, voice messages, legal records, everything that documented what she'd done, all backed up and stored neatly in labeled folders. At one point, I thought I'd need it. To clear my name. To fight back. To expose her. But now? Now I looked at it the way you look at an old wound you no longer feel. I didn't want revenge. I didn't even want justice. I just wanted distance. So I encrypted the folder. Locked it away. Not to delete it, but to make sure I never had to look at it again. That was the real end of it. Not the emails. Not the last sighting at the cafe. But the moment I no longer needed proof of what happened. Because I knew. And that was enough. A week passed. Then, out of nowhere, I received one final message. Not an email. Not a call. A physical letter. Mailed to the co-working address I hadn't used in months. Inside was a single page. No greetings. No stories. No excuses. Just this: I'm leaving the country. I've lost everything. I just wanted to say, I don't blame you for disappearing. I would have left me too. That was it. No address. No return contact. Just a few final words from someone who once tried to control everything, and now had nothing left to hold on to. I stared at the letter for a long time. And then I folded it up and threw it into the trash. Not because I hated her. But because I didn't need anything she touched to follow me into the next chapter of my life. Now when I look in the mirror, I see someone different. Not a man broken by betrayal. Not someone scared of trusting again. But someone rebuilt, stronger, quieter, sharper. I don't rush into love anymore. I don't entertain people who deal in illusions. And I never, ever ignore red flags. Ariba was a lesson. A painful one. But one that rewired everything I knew about love, trust, and self-respect. She may find someone new. She may try to rewrite her story. But she will never meet this version of me again. The man she lied to is gone. And the man who survived her? He doesn't look back. Time has a way of softening the sharpest edges. It's been almost a year since I walked out of Ariba's life, and more importantly, since I walked back into my own. I don't think about her much now. Not with anger. Not with grief. Just occasionally, the memory drifts in like an old song from a past life. A life I no longer belong to. I don't wonder where she went. If she's truly overseas. If she started over with another name, another man, another mask. That cycle was hers to repeat, not mine to monitor. I used to feel a responsibility to tell the truth. To warn others. To expose what she did. But then I realized something important: healing doesn't require an audience. I almost forgot what was inside. And I didn't need to prove anything to anyone. My truth was mine. And I had already lived it. One morning, I opened an old box that had been sitting at the back of my closet since I moved into my new place. The photo frame. The one that once held our fake marriage certificate. I remembered the day she gave it to me. How proud I was to hang it up. How I smiled like a man who thought he had everything. I removed the frame from the box, carefully slid the glass out, and pulled the paper apart. It looked so real. Stamps. Signatures. Embossed gold seal. But it wasn't real. It never had been. I folded it up slowly and burned it in the kitchen sink. This time, I didn't feel dramatic. I didn't feel sad. I just felt free. It wasn't about revenge or closure. It was about releasing myself from every last thread she had tied to me. A few months later, I met someone new. Not someone dramatic or glamorous. She didn't have wild stories or carefully crafted charm. She was simple. Kind. Honest in a way that didn't need performance. I didn't rush it. Didn't over-explain my past. When she asked if I'd ever been married, I simply said, not officially. She smiled and replied, good. I like things done right the first time. There was peace in that moment. Not because I had replaced Ariba. But because I finally stopped trying to erase her. I had accepted that part of my life. I just no longer gave it power. Ariba once told me I gave her peace when she had none. Now I know the truth. She never wanted peace. She wanted control. And the one thing she couldn't stand was someone who walked away without giving her a scene. No screams. No fights. No threats. Just distance. And in that silence, I reclaimed everything she tried to take, my dignity, my name, my future. They say the strongest revenge is to live well. But I never needed revenge. I just needed a clean break. And I made one. With no forwarding address. No goodbye. No trace.